Hello everyone, this is David, and today I'm going to be bringing you a review of the new Carenado Cessna CJ2. We'll go ahead and start the review here on the exterior. And as you can see, the texture work and 3D modeling are typical Carenado immaculate quality. As you can just see, the texture work is just super clear, super defined, looks really nice. The aircraft is modeled after a very clean, well-maintained airplane, so you don't see a whole lot of visual damage to the paint. This is pretty typical for most business jets. Most of them are pretty well-maintained. The reflective mapping here on the hot wing looks really nice, and also on the heated inlet looks really nice. And the paint itself has a very nice reflective look to it as well. And the bump mapping is also very nice. As you can see here, the bump mapping here on the pressure cabin, but on the unpressurized part down here it's not. It just looks really nice. They've went into a lot of detail even in the engines, in the aft part of the engines there. And on the tail, it just kind of gives you an example of how detailed the texture work is. You can see every little rivet and hinge in there. It just looks really nice. Really nice work on the exterior model of the airplane. Performance wise, on the exterior I'm right at my locked 31 FPS, and I'm at a Payware airport running ASN and pretty high settings, so it's pretty impressive. Alright, let's go ahead and go inside and have a look around. And in the VC, it's typical Carenado quality, as usual with them. And I got my whatever this window coming up is. I'm not really sure what it does, but whenever I hit Shift minus, it comes up, and I'd really like to get rid of it. So if somebody knows how to get rid of that, please let me know in the comment sections. Come back to the VC in a minute, but I just want to show you the virtual cabin. Is probably one of the best looking virtual cabins I've seen in flight sim in all my years of flight sim. It looks absolutely real to me. The texture work, the modeling. They've even done some reflective texture work back here. This looks really nice, as you can see, and all these work, and as do the tray tables, and the animations are really nice on all those. One of these days I do need to get Easy Dock, so I don't have to keep moving around with the keyboard, but for now I'm stuck doing this. Alright, let's go ahead and shut the door and get ready to go flying. And the animation on the door is also very nice. While we're kind of standing in this perspective here, we can kind of look around the VC. The VC is modeled really nicely. The texture work looks great. The 3D modeling throughout the cockpit looks really great. Just very impressive. And I do have the yoke hidden right now, so I can get to all the switches in a minute. But overall, it's just an extremely impressive VC, and performance-wise in here, it is really good. Even when you have all the avionics running, the performance is still really impressive. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this thing started up. Battery on. Go ahead and start up number 2. And at 11%, right click or left click on this, and it brings this up, which brings fuel into the engine, and that's how it is on the real CJ. And it's nice to see that they have this modeled correctly in the sim as well. Go ahead and bring on the generator for that side. Go ahead and start number 1 up. generator. Alright, so once you've done that, you're going to be left with darkened screens. And in order to bring those up, just that knob right there, and it'll bring everything up. And this will dim. I'll bring that up. Alright, so let's go ahead and go flying. I will say that the FMC does work pretty well. I'm not going to go through programming it. I'm just going to go kind of do a short flight around the pattern today, so no point in programming it. But it does work. You can fly citizen stars with it. It's functional enough to pretty much do anything you need to do in flight sim. Yeah, it may not be the full Collins Proline setup, but it does work good enough for flight sim purposes. Alright, so we'll go ahead and turn on the pitot heat and the other heat and bring on our anti-skid. And don't turn on your pitot heat and stuff until you're just about to take off, otherwise you can actually overheat it. In the real CJ. In this airplane I don't think you can, but alright. So let's go ahead and go. Like I was saying earlier, performance-wise, even with everything running, it's still right up there at my FPS lock. Ground handling, the airplane, it moves around. It's not just going in a straight line, which is nice. It's actually a bit of a handful, especially with the winds. A couple things I've noticed in the VC is that this ground idle, when you push the throttles up, it should turn off, but it does not. The display here does not respond to your altitude movement, so basically it's really hard to set your altitude because you can't tell what it's set at in there. But if you hit alt hold, it will do that, but it does not work the way it is when you're just moving it up and down. One other thing I have noticed is that the ADI here does not work right. It just kind of... And this part works right and the pitch works right, but the roll, the ADI does not actually move. So I don't really know what's up with that, but those are a couple things that do need to be fixed. And as usual, my only gripe with the VC is these. They are movable, but they're not adjustable, and I'd really just like to see Carenado add the adjustable ones. I mean, A2A, PMDG, everybody has it, but not Carenado. The sounds on this airplane are really, really good. It sounds just like a CJ. And just for reference, I do have some right seat time in the Citation CJ. It's a straight CJ I flew, so not a CJ1 or CJ2, but just the CJ. Alright, well, let me go ahead and show you guys the night lighting. everything lit up as it can be, and this is with HDR enabled. It does look pretty good with HDR enabled, and there's the virtual cabin with HDR enabled. But I do actually prefer aircraft in P3D with HDR disabled, and I'll show you guys that. At night, I prefer the aircraft to have HDR turned off. And you can see it kind of gives it a little more subtle lighting, a little more realistic, and the cabin still looks really nice under these lighting conditions as well. Go ahead and bring it in for landing here.
$2,500.
Really nice as well. Flight dynamics wise, the airplane flies like the real CJ that I flew. I don't have a whole bunch of CJ time and it's right seat time, but I did get to fly the airplane some. So, coming from that, it does have pretty accurate flight dynamics. The airplane's very responsive. It's not extremely fast, but that's pretty much a CJ. The CJ2 is a little bit faster than the actual CJ that I flew.
$1,000.
One thing I do wish they would work on Prepar3d is making it so the clouds are not so bright. That kind of really kills immersion.
500. 200. 300. 200. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20. 10.
And I landed really long that time. That was my bad. Alright folks, well that about sums it up for this review. I will say that the airplane is a definite recommended purchase. It flies really nice, performance is great, systems modeling is deep enough to keep you busy, and learning the airplane for quite a while. And I know a lot of people do say Carenado aircrafts don't have a lot of systems depth, but the thing is, all this stuff works. It all does something, even if it isn't modeled to a, theoretical hydraulic system. It still does pop the lights on, does what it's supposed to do. So, you can still simulate all the checks and all that sort of stuff. And so at least it does do that. And in my opinion, that is enough. One good thing about not having a huge amount of systems modeled is that you can't see, that really don't do anything, is that it does save on performance, which is a problem for a lot of people with flight sim aircraft when they get really detailed. And personally, I find better graphics lead to more immersion than even system steps do for me. But that's just a personal opinion. Alright folks, well I hope you have enjoyed the review. Like I said, I definitely recommend purchasing this aircraft, and the link to the Carenado website will be in the description below. Alright folks, thank you for watching.